Reagan Republicans. When I first got wind of this one, I could not flip and believe it. And I couldn't believe that all of the mainstream Republicans didn't come out and denounce Trump to the high heavens. Donald Trump is a dupe of Vladimir Putin. He is a dupe.
Welcome back to Hardball. Well, Donald Trump's appearance on the English language broadcast of state-owned Russian television last night was met with some disbelief, and I'd say today, especially in light of Trump's very public support of Russian President Vladimir Putin. So he goes on his TV network. RT, which formerly stood for Russia Today, was launched as part of a public relations effort on part of the Kremlin. As the Wall Street Journal reports, quote, the RT network has emerged as an important propaganda tool since it was launched in 2005 by the Kremlin, which insisted the world's airwaves have been based or biased for pro-Western programming so long. Moscow has poured millions into its budget of RT and attracted some professionals like Larry King, as well as some offbeat commentators and conspiracy theorists. That's the Wall Street Journal talking there. In King's interview, Trump went as far as to attack the free press here in this country on a state-owned Russian TV network. Amazing, going after freedom of the press, free press, with a network that doesn't even believe in that. Anyway, take a look. It's outrageous.
One quick thing. What surprised you the most about running for office?
Well, I think the dishonesty of the media. The media has been unbelievably dishonest. I mean, they'll take a statement that you make, which is perfect, and they'll cut it up and chop it up and shorten it or lengthen it or do something with it, and all of a sudden it doesn't look as good as it did when you actually said it.
Well, Trump also took the opportunity on the air there to defend Russia from accusations of meddling in U.S. elections with cyber attacks. Here he is.
U.S. intelligence and law enforcement agencies reportedly are investigating whether Russia launched a covert operation to disrupt the 2016 election. What do you make of that?
I don't know. I've been hearing about it. I've been reading about it. I think it's probably unlikely. I think maybe the Democrats are putting that out. Who knows?
Who knows? In an attempt to damage control or control the damage, the Trump campaign said they did not think the interview would be used on the network that Larry King works for.
How the hell do you think an interview that you do on a network that Larry King works for with Larry King is not going to be run on the same network that you did the interview with? I mean, he's trying to blow smoke up our asses and calling it sunshine.
He actually did an interview with Larry King, a personal friend of his, a friend of, I'm sure, everyone around the table. And he said he was doing it for his podcast, didn't know it would be on Russian TV. But what he said there was...
How does something like that happen, that the campaign doesn't know that his words are going to be played on Kremlin State TV? Larry King was doing the interview for Kremlin State TV.
For his podcast. I wasn't involved in the interview.
Okay, so now she's bailing. She wasn't involved in the interview. That just goes to the lack of vetting that the Trump campaign does with any media outlet or any of the personnel that they utilize. And Kelly's starting to look old here. I think she's starting to age behind all this Trump bullshit.
Kellyanne, good for you. Anyway, the problem is a simple Google search quickly reveals that King works for the Kremlin-funded network RT, Russia Today. I'm joined right now by MSNBC political analyst David Corn, Washington Bureau Chief for Mother Jones, of course, as well as a Republican strategist, Michael Steele, who's on, a former spokesman for Speaker Boehner. What do you make of this, Michael, that's going on Larry King? Everybody knows he works for RT. I know it now. I didn't know it a couple of years ago. It's not so much going with Larry King, who I'm a friend of, and I like the guy, and he's had a hell of a history in radio and even television. But he doesn't have to ask tough questions. And by the way, he didn't say anything to Trump about the American media. Trump used a softball question, what have you learned in the campaign, to bash the media. It wasn't King's fault. It was Trump.
I think in Vladimir Putin's KGB days, Donald Trump would have been known as a useful idiot. If we've got a situation, I come from the wing of the Republican Party that considers Russia a geopolitical threat, a geopolitical foe. And if we're in a situation where the FBI says that they're trying to interfere in our elections, and a former KGB agent says they're not, I personally trust the FBI agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Trump...
You make this, as Churchill would say, you took the side of the fire brigade against the fire.
Exactly.
It wasn't a tough call.
Yeah, and Trump doesn't. I mean, he's been asked...
Why did he do it?
Well, my overarching view of Trump is that he's at core a narcissist. And why does he like Putin? Because what he says. Putin says nice things about him. Putin is...
That is, by the way, explain what a narcissist isn't somebody who thinks they're good looking or anything. A narcissist is someone who believes psychologically that the world revolves around them.
The most important thing to a narcissist is how the rest of the world engages or interacts with him.
Right.
And
You're the son of the universe.
So he judges everyone by whether they say nice things about him. So Putin, you know, who former KGB agent, and this is probably KGB agenting 101, has figured this out with Trump and is going to flatter him, and Trump just falls for it. And so when he says, when you say to Trump, what about the journalists that have been killed in Russia? He goes, I don't know if it's happened. What are the hacking? I don't know, and there won't be any invasion of Crimea.
So if you're going to lobby the next, if this is a Trump administration, well, you know the government like I do. If he's going to lobby the next administration, all you have to do is say nice things about Trump, and he'll do anything you want. Anyway, by this theory, let's watch right now what Secretary Clinton had to say earlier this evening when asked about Trump's appearance on Russian television.
So, can I say I was surprised? I'm not sure anything surprises us anymore. But I was certainly disappointed that someone running for president of the United States would continue this unseemly identification with and praise of the Russian president, including on Russian television.
You know, I have a feeling, and I don't want to be too comical about it, but it's a ridiculous situation, Michael and David. Sometimes I think Trump thinks he's judging a contest. And the contest is, who's the toughest ass dictator in the world? Oh, Putin! It's not a question of his danger to us. Yeah, he's kick-ass tough. Okay, that's not what we ask about a foreign leader. We want to know whether the foreign leader is like Anwar Sadat, a friend of the United States, right?
Yeah.
Or someone like Isaac Rabin or somebody. Are you somebody who agrees with our general foreign policy, or are you not? That's the way we talk about foreign leaders. We don't judge them like we're in some contest. He judges Putin like as if he wasn't a prop of the United States.
Values, too. We care about the values.
And if it were, it would be comical, except that we're selecting the commander-in-chief of the United States military, the next leader of the free world. We're down to essentially two candidates, and one of them is this guy who we can't trust to defend the ball.
Okay, let's flip it around. Flip around. Yeah. You're on the left. I'm going to talk to you like that. Suppose somebody on the left or moderate left had gone on Russian television and trashed it, state-owned television, and trashed the United States media.
Yeah, you know who would be Trump?
Trashed the United States.
Trump and Pence would be attacking that. I mean, let's not leave Pence out of the sequence. He's out there saying Putin's a strong leader. Well, you know who else was a strong leader? Yeah. That's not how you judge people.
Well, let's just go back to Stalin. That's what we have to do.
Trump has become Putin's poodle, or a lapdog for Putin, and the Republican Party is tied up in knots because not everybody has the integrity of Michael's...
By the way, Michael, let me just say it. The latest polling in this country, I had on last night. You know what Putin's polling in this country? 8. Anyway, this comes after Trump Wednesday night said Putin is a stronger leader than President Obama. Let's watch. See, he's judging this contest. Anyway, Senator Lindsey Graham slammed Trump for that yesterday, saying, I think this is the biggest miscalculation since people thought Hitler was a good guy. Good for Lindsey. Other Republicans were careful to denounce Putin without criticizing Trump directly. Take a listen.
Yeah.
Let me say this about Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is an aggressor that does not share our interests.
Are you concerned, though, of Donald Trump praising Vladimir Putin, someone who said...
I made my points about Putin clear right there. I'll just leave it at that.
One has to be careful to let flattery influence how you feel about someone.
I have tremendous disagreements with President Obama on policy. Huge differences. Vladimir Putin's not a president, he's a dictator. Once people learn the true nature of Vladimir Putin, my hope is that he'll change his opinion and his views with regards to it.
He wouldn't even say the name Donald Trump. What a flippin' pansy. He's a joke.
Let's talk Turkey. You said a few months ago, that you represent or are part of the party that believes that Russia is a foe. That seems to be, and not that it's an old Cold War, but it's a new kind of challenge. I don't think it's the same as the Cold War. No. But that there is a sense that geopolitically, this guy wants land, he wants to rebuild some of the empire, and that's going to be a problem for us in NATO.
Sure. Reclaim the near abroad, exert influence on the former Soviet states, particularly in the Baltics, where we have a huge interest in maintaining democracy, maintaining them as part of Europe. But I think what Speaker Ryan was saying is exactly right. We have an an obligation to speak out against these ridiculous comments, to speak out against this dictator in Putin. At the same time, Donald Trump is the nominee of the party, and a lot of people are having a lot of trouble balancing those competing.
But this is not about Putin. This is about Trump. We agree, although we may have policy disagreements, we agree that Putin is an authoritarian thug and that he's not to call him a strong leader and compare him favorably to the President of the United States is wrong. And if Ryan, Speaker Ryan, can't call out his nominee, and Lindsey Graham can't back away from his previous endorsement of Trump, then all these criticisms don't matter.
I think Lindsey Graham's really endorsing Trump.
Well, he has.
Okay,
he has.
Anyway, I don't think he loves the guy.
Well,
but I think Trump's got this weird kind of bromance going with this guy with the shirt off riding the horse over there. There's something strange in the neighborhood. Anyway, thank you, David Corey. I probably respond to that. That's the kind of thing he doesn't like. Anyway, Michael Steele, thank you.
All right, so Republicans, well, at least we know that there's one Republican that was on Chris's show that had the cojones to stand up and call it for what it is. We need a whole hell of a lot more.